In today's video, we're going to look at more examples of the parent major scale. And our goal here is, can we figure out what the parent major is to C sharp minor? We've talked about this in some past videos, but I want to go through this a couple of different ways so that you have different sort of problem solving abilities. First, I need to figure out what are the notes in C sharp minor. So let's maybe start off with that. And so I need to really maybe start off with the notes of C sharp major. I would go C sharp, well, a whole step. In fact, let me just go ahead and do, this would be easier if I did it this way. And sort of write out the skeleton. C sharp to D sharp is a whole step. D sharp to E sharp would be a whole step. And then E sharp to F sharp would be a half step. A little tricky. You want to convince yourself that that's true because E sharp is the same thing as an F. And then F sharp to G sharp is a whole step. G sharp to A sharp is a whole step. A sharp to B sharp is going to be a whole step, and then finally B sharp, which is the same thing, it's enharmonic to C, is going to be a half step from C sharp. And the first thing I really want to kind of think about is, well, gosh, that really looks ugly. I've got E sharps and I've got B sharps, but I did say that it was going to be C sharp minor, so I don't want to go too far right now and actually start flipping this to the flats, right? So I could rewrite this thing in, D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C, and D flat. I could do that, but then that's gonna get a little bit problematic for me. So for the moment, we're just gonna sort of accept it. Okay, so let's do that. All right, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is now I'm gonna flat 3, 6, and 7. So I'm flatting my 3rd degree. I'm flatting my 6th degree. Oops, my 6th degree. And I'm flatting my 7th degree, okay? And so that's my C sharp minor scale. Now, from here, what I can do to figure out what is the parent major scale is I can count backwards, and I know that this is considered to be 6, 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I could sort of count backwards, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you were doing this on maybe a piano, or if you're doing this on a guitar or a violin or some kind of an instrument where maybe that's something that you could do, and I could realize that C sharp minor is the same thing as E major, that E major is the parent scale. So let's write that in over here. So E major is my parent scale. There is another way to do this. It's probably a little bit more efficient, and maybe you've already seen it, and I really just want to take a look at this relationship here to here. And once again, 6 to 7 is a whole step, and 7 to 1 would be a half step. So that whole relationship is just 1.5 steps. So I just want to count 1.5 steps up from my root note. So that would also get me to the same answer. So let's sort of do that trick method with these other two examples that we have here. And I want to just ask you a simple question. What is 1.5 steps up from F minor, from F? Well, let's see. We have F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and this would be F would be a half step, and a half step. That is 3 half steps, and that would be it. So F minor is the relative minor to G sharp major. Okay, now at this point you might go, wait a minute, G sharp major, we don't talk about G sharp major. Yes, that's true. So what you'd want to just do is just sort of flip this. You just really would just want to flip this over, and meaning that you'd want to use the enharmonic equivalent and just call this thing A flat major. Okay, so those are some of the kind of challenges that you're going to face. Let's do the same thing here with G minor. And so I want to think to myself, what is 1.5 steps up from G? So G, G sharp, A sharp. I'm counting in sharps, right? So if I suppose if I would have counted in flats, we wouldn't have had any issues over here with our F minor, because I would have been F to G flat, G to A flat, but that's okay. Either way, you notice I get the same answer because I just want to memorize that, we don't use G sharps, we use A flats, because that's sort of the subdominant natures of the key signatures. G minor here is going to be, let's see, well, that's 1/2, 2 halves, and 3 halves. So that's going to be the same thing as A sharp major. It's going to be the same thing as A sharp major. And again, I want to flip this in my brain. I want to kind of think, well, we don't use A sharp major, so let's use its end harmonic, which would be B flat major. Now, there is another way that we could have come up with this sort of information, and once again, we really want to consider proportions. F minor to G minor is a whole step up. So therefore, their relative minors, A flat to B flat, have to be a whole step up as well. So that idea about proportions that we've explored before definitely rings true here. In future videos, we're going to continue to look at major scales, parent major scales, relative minor scales. We're going to continue to also maybe look a little bit further into the circle of fifths and finally start getting into some other scales that you can use as well. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you've really enjoyed what you've seen so far, please just go ahead and click that subscribe button for me. It'll help keep us going so we can put out more great content for you.